This is a pretty cool car, guys. It kind of reminds me of that. You remember the old computer system called the Amiga? They actually had a game called Lotus Esprit Turbo Challenge. And I feel like I'm just back in that game. I'm playing it, I'm a kid. And maybe some of you younger guys don't even remember such a thing, but check it out on Google. It really existed. It's a pretty cool game. And here's the real car that's in it. So I'm going to clamber my way out of here and we'll talk about this car. This is a 1995 Lotus Esprit Turbo S4S, and today I'm going to give it a wizard score. No, actually I'm not. I'm not that guy. So I'm going to give you some facts about this car. You've seen this car recently in one of the videos where we had Tavares here. We talked about how cool it was and what an awesome car it was, but today we're going to talk about why it's here and some of the fun facts about the car. We're not going to put it on the lift today and check it out because we're not to that point yet. I still have so many other jobs to get done. This one's on the back burner waiting for the repairs, but let's get started on the why it's here and the things about the car. The Esprit was made by Lotus in the UK from 1976 to 2004. It's quite a long span and there's so many different models in between. It's not like they just made one Esprit. There's S1, S2, S3, S4. There's a V8 version towards the end. It's just a huge array of different models in these 76 to 04. Of all these cars, there was 10,675 Lotus Esprit vehicles made. Some of them turbo, some of them not. But as far as it being an Esprit, there's 10,675. From 76 to 02, you got the 5-speed transmission. It was only in 03 and 04 that you got the 6-speed transmission. So pretty much most of these cars have the 5-speed setup. The model that predated this one was the Europa. This was the model to replace the Europa. When they came out with the Esprit, that was the intention to do away with the Europa and move forward with this model. As you see on this car, it has a custom wrap job. This isn't from the factory. This is a very rare model, S4S. They had S4s, which is designated a generation of these, but this is an S4S. It had a little bit more power and a lot more features on the car, and power steering. That was a very good feature on this car. Stock, this car isn't stock. It has huge amounts of mods. It's very fast. But stock, these have 300 horsepower and 209 pounds of torque. It's such a light little car. It's small. It's not a whole bunch of metal. It's fiberglass or plastic or whatever that is, and it's very fast. I went on the pig trail. You guys have heard of the pig trail in Arkansas, and you've seen the red Lotus I had in the shop, Esprit Turbo, and then this S4S. These guys were at the front of the pack with the Lamborghini Huracan, Tyler's 996 Turbo. Those guys were leading the way. The Corvettes, Camaros, my Audi S6, the whole multitude of different cars didn't even stand a chance. There was no way we could catch up to them. These guys were leading the pack. This has the 910 2.2 liter turbo series engine, and like I said, I just stated the horsepower and torque. It's a 4-cylinder, guys. There's not some exotic V8 or twin turbo supercharged. It's just one turbo and a 4-cylinder, and it just completely hauls butt. The racing side of Lotus is what inspires the simplicity. It's a simple 4-cylinder. I mean, it's tuned. It's got double overhead cams. It's a racing engine, but it's not like working on the Murcielago, which is a whole lot of stuff going on in there. The top speed for this car is 168 miles an hour. That's just the way it's geared. I'm sure it could go faster. It does 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. And they're made in Hethel, England. Hethel with an H, not Ethel, Hethel. Say it with me. Hethel, England. There we go. If you owned one of these when they were new, the nearest dealer for the Wichita, Kansas area would have been Denver, Colorado. If you had anything go wrong, your power windows quit, you have brake issues, off to Denver it went. Every single time something went wrong, you had an 8-hour drive. Off to Denver it went. That's just the price you pay when you have an exotic and there's only a few dealers in the whole country. You don't just take a leisurely stroll to the dealer when something goes wrong. It's quite an event. Why it's here. This engine has been out and been rebuilt by a professional company. I can't remember where it was. He told me where it was, but he had thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into this engine, having it fully rebuilt, top to bottom. It lasted 3 years, and he's sitting at a stoplight here recently. Just everything's going fine, everything's happy, and all of a sudden it starts misfiring pretty bad. And he looks in his rearview mirror, or looks out his window, and there's perfect, it's kind of like people that smoke cigarettes. They can blow those smoke rings. That's what was coming out of the pipe. Perfect white smoke rings, and he could smell antifreeze. The exhaust smelled sweet like antifreeze, and he knew it just blew a head gasket. We haven't fully tested it, but that's 99% chance that's what happened here. It blew a head gasket. Why? We have yet to discover. We have to pull the head off and see what's going on. On this, you don't just pull the head off in situ. You have to pull the whole powertrain out the bottom, and then you can work on it, pull the head, pull the timing belt, all that stuff. We're going to find out why. That'll be an upcoming video as we get to that point. But it'll be interesting to find out what happened here. How did a perfectly running car that went on the pig trail, no issues really, and all of a sudden blown head gasket? And we were on the pig trail 8 months ago. He's driven it back and forth ever since then with really, he's had little issues here and there he's worked on, but as far as the engine, it really hasn't had huge problems. And then poof, blown head gasket. So it'll be interesting to find out why. Let's take a look at the engine, and then we'll look around and look up front at the frunk or the trunk, or however you guys want to call that. We'll take a look at the interior and give you guys a little tour of a Lotus Esprit Turbo S4S. And there it is in all its glory. I have the little top cover off. There's a little plastic cover that goes over the top. This is a mid-engine exotic car. You can see the little intercooler here. There's the turbo right down there. Very easy to get to. These aren't hard to work on. They're hard if you have to do timing belt, or like we're going to do, pull the cylinder head off, but they're not horrible to work on. The red one that's owned by the owner of Euroasian that I spoke about, I did quite a bit of work on that, and it's running great still. It really wasn't all that hard. You just have to take your time. You don't get in a hurry and try to meet quotas on a car like this. You just take your time. You don't want to break bolts. You don't want to break sensors or break stuff. Take it easy.
I know you never want to break something on a car, but why is it extra bad to break something on a Lotus?
The parts are exponentially high and hard to come by. On these cars especially, obviously we know on English cars or older cars, European cars are hard to get parts for. But like I said, from 76 to 2004, a little over 10,000 cars. That's not very much. Some car makers make that in a month for a specific model. How many of these are still running? How many are still alive? How many are in the United States versus Europe or other parts of the world? You go into AutoZone, O'Reilly's, CarQuest, any of your favorite parts store, Napa, and you start talking about, I need this or that for a Lotus Esprit Turbo, it'll be like a deer in the headlights. It'll be like this. They won't have no clue where to even begin. You can forget about getting parts. Every time something goes wrong on this and you need parts, you're waiting a week or two. There is choices to overnight the part, but that's if they have the part in stock. It may be on back order. There's no amount of money you can pay to change that fact. You're going to wait. Like I said, you say, oh, my alternator went out, or you might be able to get on eBay and get a used one, or maybe there's some for there, but there's certain parts and sensors and things you just won't find them on eBay. You have to go to a specialty online store, order the part. I have come across this many times. It doesn't matter who I use, Ricambi, Scuderia, FCP Euro. They show the part, they show the diagram. Here's the part, it's $700, and you say, oh, I want that part, I'll order that. Here's the money. You send the money, you click pay now, and then you get an email the next day. It says, oh, those are back ordered for 2 weeks. Sorry. It's like, wait a minute, it didn't say that when I ordered it. Too bad, you're gonna wait. Another option is some of these parts can be rebuilt. You can ship them off to rebuilders that remanufacture or go through and rebuild them. Still, that takes time. Maybe it's a little cheaper, but you're still gonna wait. So the name of the game on the repair of these cars is wait. Hurry up and wait. That's an old military term. This guy that owns this car is a career military man. I also spent time in the military, and we're both very familiar with hurry up and wait. Bill's very patient. He's very decent to deal with. I really enjoy doing work for him. He's the guy that owns this car. He also owns that really cool Datsun. If you look at several videos back, way back when I first started, we did the Datsun, got it back on the road. It's on Bring a Trailer right now for sale. It runs great, runs perfect, drives perfect. So he's brought several vehicles, cool vehicles through the shop here. Let's go check out the frunk. As you saw in the back when we were back there, that would be where you put your luggage or you put some of your items you want to carry. You're not going to fit it up here. You got your spare tire, your jack, your brake unit, hydraulic unit. There's your air conditioning and some reservoirs, a fuse panel, relays. You're not going to fit much of anything. Maybe right here you could fit a 6-pack of beer or something, but that's about it. There's not much room up here. To get this thing opened up, there's a tiny little metal rod. It's right by the steering column under the dash. And then there's wiring harnesses and things running back and forth all through there. So you're feeling, you're like, where is this thing? And finally you find it and move it forward. It just makes a tiny little noise. It just click. You barely hear it, and it's okay, now I can open it. Really though, you don't need to be in here unless you've got to repair something or get your spare tire out. There's nothing in here to do but fix something. So, not a storage area really. And you don't slam this thing and close it. You have to reach back in here, pull the lever. Let me make sure I got it right. Just like so. You don't slam this thing closed, you'll break it. Let's take a look at the interior. It's got some wear on the seats. Keep in mind it's a 95, it's not brand new, but it's in very good shape for the age. It's got camel colored leather. The dash is leather. This wood grain up here on the dash is usually crackled and destroyed by now, but this one's in good shape. I think he's had it refinished, but I remember him saying that. I'm not for sure on that, but this one's in very good shape. Most of these, like I said, are very poor shape. This one's very nice. It's got a new stereo in it, simple AC and heater controls. Here's your mirror control, which happens to be identical switch on the Lamborghini Murcielago I'm working on. You've seen a laptop in the seat. That's the actual factory program that's on there that can connect to the computer and read data out. This is a cute little car. I have to squat down to talk about it because it's so low to the ground. I think if I got a running start, I could just jump up on the roof and stand on it. It's very low to the ground. It looks like it's happy, it's smiling, even with a blown head gasket. I guess it's got a good spirit about it anyway. There's an acronym for Lotus. Lots of trouble, usually severe. And I guess this time around it proves to be true on this car, unfortunately. We're going to get it back going for him and get it running and back on the road. He likes this car. He really enjoys it. Might as well get it going for him. If there's any tools or anything that you see that I've used or interested in the tools that I use, check out my Amazon affiliates page. They're for sale there. We also have merchandise, shirts and hats and things for sale. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. That'll help me out, and there's a whole lot of cool more videos to come. This one will be one of them to come. We're going to pull the motor and transaxle on this thing. So again, thanks for watching. See you next time. Say it with me. Hethel, England. There we go.
I'm going to cut that right away. That was stupid.
No, it wasn't. It's funny.